I would say the recruitment cycle does not necessarily ever begin or end. One, because you have more and more students that are seeking out and starting that college search at a younger age, especially within the last 10 plus years. You know, you've got colleges and universities reaching out to freshmen, reaching out to sophomores, and therefore, you know, that is kind of when the college search process starts for a lot of them. Now we still have those students that will wait until, you know, May of their senior year before they do anything, but students are starting that process earlier and earlier for a variety of reasons. And even though they enroll, their potential to melt over the summer, you can't necessarily, just because they're a deposited student, I don't think you can necessarily say, okay, they're in the door. They're not in the door until they're actually in the door. I would say at this time of year, some of the biggest challenges that enrollment offices face trying to land their class by May 1. Typically, you'll hear institutions say where we were at May 1 is pretty much where we came in August at. So trying to solidify as much as possible by that May 1 national decision deadline. The other thing I think that we're seeing change from years previously is, you know, obviously financial aid makes a huge difference for students, and a lot of times they are literally going until the last minute before they make that decision. They need to feel a connection to the college. They need to feel like they can see themselves there for 4 years. And sometimes students don't necessarily see that until it's really kind of down to the deadline of when it's time to commit. So I think that admissions offices during this time are ever changing. They're trying to land their class, but they're also trying to think forward about recruiting for the next class as well. So it's probably one of the busiest times of the year. The fundamentals of a strong yield strategy would be to make sure that you're using a multi-channel approach. So not just trying to reach out to students in one way, shape, or form. I think that you have to maybe revalidate your value with the student, so that as you're trying to get them to commit to your school, you know, they really understand the value of the education they're getting. They see that, you know, even though it may be costing them something, that would be worth it in the end. So one of the biggest strategies that I've been using with a lot of partners are CVE data that we have at our fingertips, and utilizing what we know about their students on the website to look in to see the viability of their pool still. As we're hearing right now, a lot of schools say deposits are very slow coming in for 2019 right now. We have the ability through CVE to go look and find out how many of their admitted students have been on the site in the last week, in the last 30 days. How many of their applicants have been out there on the site in the last week, in the last 30 days, so that it provides them some sort of an idea that there are still students looking at them, thinking about them, and we can show them exactly who those students are by utilizing CVE. So behavioral intelligence can very much elevate yield strategies, because you can speak to the student about what it is that they're actually showing an interest in, and what it is that they're actually looking at and looking for. So being able to use behavioral intelligence to guide the conversation with the student about what's most important to them at this point in time. Especially as we go through a yield season and you feel like you've talked to the student about everything you can talk to them about, but you're seeing them on your website and they're looking at a variety of things. Those can spark conversations that you may not have thought about with the student, or may not have known that the student had an interest in that. So you could expand on some of those things that you know the student really is showing an interest in.